So, Jules, how often do you think about prison?
I'd say randomly. It's random now.
Random, not bad.
What about you?
Sometimes I have dreams, which is weird.
That you're in there
Yeah,
still?
yeah. It gets mentioned in conversation. I'm like, oh yeah, prison.
Do you know what? I actually had a dream that I was going back to do double what I've just done.
Madness.
It's horrible.
Wow. Glad it was a dream.
Hello and welcome back to Life After Prison with Zak and Jules. Today's episode is all about dealing with the unknown and how that looks for people going through the criminal justice system or have been through it. So, when did you feel the fear of the unknown?
You feel it in different areas, or it hits you at different points, should I say. Either like when you're just about to go in, during your time when you're thinking about, okay, what's the next stage, what's going to go on in the future. And then obviously the big one, I think, the main one for me anyway, is getting out. When
Did you have all those other fears as well?
Yeah. Obviously,
Okay.
You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how long you're
Sometimes
going
I've
to get.
spoken to you and you're like, yeah, I wasn't scared.
No, you could be. No, I was prepared because
Yeah.
I knew to expect. Like, for example, I'm on trial, so I know worst case scenario is prison, right?
Yeah.
So I can expect worst case scenario I'm going to prison. But how long? That's the unknown, innit?
Okay.
And that's what gets your mind
Yeah.
thinking and spinning. But also it's about how you face it though. And that's what the main thing for me is the approach to facing what the unknown is, right? So just a micro example, a little example is, okay, so what's my life gonna be like when I get out? What do I want to do? How do I affect my future in the best possible way, even though I don't know where it's gonna go? Do you get what I'm saying? So then I put things in place myself, and yeah, just plan. So that's
how you deal with the unknown.
Yeah, so I think that's the priority that I think people should put their thinking towards is, yeah, we don't know what the unknown is, what the outcomes are going to be, but how you prepare and plan for those potential outcomes is the important thing for me. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what about you now?
Yeah, I definitely had fear of unknown quite a lot especially before my sentence. I think the biggest fear for me was how long was I going to get? And I think the way I dealt with it was planning for the worst case scenario so that any outcome I could be able to deal with. Like, thankfully, it was nowhere near what the worst case could have been for my actual sentence.
The worst case is always like huge.
But sometimes it's not. Sometimes it can be though. Like you can have a big range of, you can have, like mine was 6 to 12 years. That's like a big range, or you can have bigger than that, or you can have smaller than that.
Fair.
But like, what do you mean?
No, that's it. That's what I'm saying.
But
it's never as bad as you expect it to be. That's what I'm trying to get at, basically.
Okay, yes. But the worst case can be so far from the best case.
Yeah. And I
for
guess
some people, which is quite like hard to be like, okay, well, it could be that, so let's go with it. But I feel like even if you do that, you're always going to be better off. So, and that's how I deal with things even now. I
was just going to say, like if you're thinking worst case all the time, how do you manage your day-to-day life when that's in your mind? Do you get what I mean?
So no, this is how I dealt with my sentence, especially. When I live my life now, I don't think worst case ever. Like I don't, my mindset isn't thinking about the worst case ever. If there's a possibility that something could be, a bad case, I will prepare myself for it being like that, just in case, so that when it isn't that, or when it's better than that, then it feels good. And if it is that case, then I'm, mentally prepared for that. But no, I don't think like that now. Like I like to think that my mindset's quite positive.
Good.
But dealing with dealing with my sentence, that's how I dealt with it then. And, you know, when it wasn't the worst case, it did feel good, yeah? But also, I think I definitely went through fears of what it was going to be like inside. And I had, you know, I was worried at times. I had to stop watching Orange is the New Black. That's how I dealt with that.
Don't watch Orange is the New Black.
Don't watch Orange is the New Black.
Or Prison Break or any of them. It's not like that.
It definitely isn't like that. But yeah, feelings of paranoia. And I had to distract myself with family, friends, work. That's how I dealt with that. But yeah, it's tough. It's really, really tough.
It's not easy at all. So in the lead up to this episode, we spoke to our colleagues at National Prison Radio just to share their thoughts and opinions on this topic of the unknown and how you deal with it. And one of our colleagues, Christina, she was speaking about being on remand, and she was on remand for quite some time. And she was talking about how it was quite difficult because she doesn't know what way it's going to go, how long she's going to get. And with that on her mind, it's been quite difficult. However, working at National Prison Radio, listening to music, being distracted takes her mind off it. And she feels like she's almost not in prison whenever she's working at National Prison Radio.
Yeah.
So that's her way of dealing with that unknown.
Well, a few of the ladies we spoke to have to deal with that fear of the unknown with remand. And it's tough. It's really, really tough. But yeah, when we're talking about dealing with it, things like working on National Prison Radio is such a great distraction and something that you're doing for yourself, developing your own skills. And she's right. She said that it doesn't feel like work, right? When you've got a job like that in prison, it really doesn't.
Makes a huge difference.
It does, doesn't it? So if anyone needs some help with distraction, get involved in stuff that you really, really enjoy doing.
Yeah. She also mentioned that having good family support makes a big difference.
Yeah.
So speaking to her loved ones a lot, getting letters and cards, feeling like she's loved really makes it a little bit easier for her.
Yeah, I feel like when we go through life, whether it's through the criminal justice system or not, we have to deal with the unknown.
Yeah.
And sometimes, we are distracting ourselves because we've got to wait to find out these answers, right? But we can call it distracting or just getting on with our life and bettering ourselves while we're doing it, which is what we want to do anyway. So if we look at it like that, I guess it helps. Just focus on yourself.
Definitely.
So we also spoke to Leandra. So she is not actually originally from the UK. This touched my heart, her story, just because of how frightening some of this must be, you know, being in, prison, number one, but also just not being close to your family or friends. It feels so unfamiliar, doesn't it? So yeah, she's dealing with a lot right now of uncertainty. She never actually thought she'd be arrested or actually get sent down. So this is quite a lot for her to get her head around. This is also the longest away that she's been from home.
Wow.
And that she spends most of her money on phone calls, which also...
That makes sense.
Yeah, touches my heart. So yeah, feeling for her and her family, but she's doing really, really well. And hopefully she gets to be closer to home soon. But I think that's also what she doesn't know, because she is on remand. She doesn't know when that will be.
Yeah. I think I'm trying to put myself in her shoes, and being in a country that's not your own, far away from your family and in prison is really difficult, with the unknown hanging over your head too.
That's a lot, isn't it?
It is a lot to deal
with. For anybody, but she's so young as well. But you know that feeling when you land in like another country and you're like, it just doesn't feel like home. It's amazing, but it doesn't feel like home. So, you know, that's something that gives us so much comfort, is having these things around us. Yeah. So strong girl, strong cookie, she's got this. That's and she was so lovely to speak to as well. All of them were.
That's right. So that's the unknown whilst you're waiting for a sentence or before you go into prison.
Yeah.
So what about the unknown of getting out and life after prison?
Yeah, this is a strange one, because we've spoken about this before. I never really thought there was going to be loads of It's almost as if like I knew there was going to be loads of unknown feelings, but I think I was just way too excited to get out that I didn't process any of that. So I just had pure excitement getting out. I definitely had the fear of being in like a gym out here with real PTs and real people training and actually putting my skills into the world out here. That's the only kind of fear I really had. Obviously, when I got out, the reality kicked in and there was lots of uncertainty and lots of unknown. But actually, the process of me looking to get out, I didn't really have that. Did you?
I think I was with you with the excitement. Like I think I've said it a few times. I was just so excited or happy, euphoric, that was the energy that carried me through. However, as you said, life hits and there's loads of different things that you got to do. So as I said earlier, I saw everything as a challenge. So I've got to make a new friendship circle because I'm leaving my old life alone and most of my old friends were involved in street life and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I had to break away from that. So that's another challenge. Second thing is I'm almost 30. I've got to start building a career. I've got to start building some sort of income, a way to make money legitimately now. So then that's another challenge. But the unknown is when's my next bit of money coming in?
Yeah.
And dealing with that is really difficult, especially in the beginning stages of when you're getting out of prison. Especially if you've got, like, you haven't got anything to fall back on, you haven't got savings, you haven't had previous employment and et cetera and et cetera. So, but I just embraced that challenge.
And look how well you've done.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
but
seriously,
it's
true.
not easy. It's not easy. And I feel like it's something that sometimes it doesn't get spoken about enough whilst you're inside. Like I don't really remember speaking about, like to my fellow guys that were in there, like, oh yeah, what are you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Only a couple people were like, oh yeah.
Yeah, no one was really talking about that. Too busy talking about, getting out
the
and
other
how
stuff,
excited
food,
it
what
is.
you're gonna eat,
Yeah.
what places you want to go.
Which is really,
but
really true.
the basic fundamentals.
I think also I never really, I never really had the fear of unknown, I think, before I went to prison. I think I was just so excited about, which, it got me into trouble sometimes. I was so excited about life and doing things, maybe the wrong things, but I didn't really have a chance to have that feeling. And now I really understand it. So I'm still learning how to deal with that fear of unknown. It hit me hard before I went in. And that was that real feeling of just everything, that dark kind of place. Now I'm getting a lot better at it. But the fear of the unknown is always going to be there. Like we're always going to have to go through it.
Yeah.
So it is about dealing with that and just knowing that it's going to be there, but it's not a bad thing. Being able to sit comfortably in the unknown is a really powerful trait.
I like that, being able to sit comfortably.
In the unknown is true. Because I can feel myself doing it a lot and I'm like, okay, I don't know how that's going to go. And this is how, when I got out, I started to feel it more and I was really bad at dealing with it. And I know that. So now when I deal with it, I force myself to sit in it. And I'm like, okay, well.
What does that take then?
What, sitting with yourself with the unknown?
Yeah.
Appreciating the right now, appreciating how far you've come, how it might not turn out like this, but there's always something else you can do. There's just such a beautiful, positive feeling in that unknown uncertainty, because it could go any way and it's exciting. Yeah. And either way, it'll be okay. It's going to be fine because it's how you feel about it.
And as long as you've done your best to affect the outcome in the best possible way for yourself.
Yeah.
What else can you do in it? You've done all that you can. You've
done all that you can, and no matter which way it's going to go, it's how you deal with it in that moment anyway. So stop worrying about it. Stop worrying about it. Live right now.
Love that.